What if I told you that nearly everything you've ever learned about good and evil, success and failure, is holding you back? There's a way to shatter these limits and become something amazing. But it's a notion so risky that most individuals are too afraid to even entertain the thought. By the time this video is over, you will know precisely why Friedrich Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch has the power to change your life, but also why it has been feared, misinterpreted, and all too often twisted into a monster. The reality is, if you don't understand this principle, you may be trapped in a system that is intended to weaken you and make you submissive and afraid. However, if you accept it, you could become all that you are capable of being. Be patient, for in the next several minutes, we're going to debunk the Übermensch, its real meaning, its myths, and most importantly, how you can use it to change your life. And at the end of the video, I'll give you 4 key ways you can change your thinking and start channeling the Übermensch in your own life. Friedrich Nietzsche was not just a philosopher, but a heretic whose aim was to demolish everything society held dear. Nietzsche was born in 1844 and was raised in a highly religious family. But as he got older, he started to see faults in all that people took for granted. He wasn't just questioning the church, he was questioning morality. He felt that the way people decided good and evil was really a means of controlling and weakening people. Consider the following. We're supposed to be humble, obedient, and self-denying. But Nietzsche always had a doubt. He wondered, what if these values are not actually making us better, but worse? What if they're not making us stronger, but weaker? And that's where he presented his most explosive idea, the Übermensch. The Übermensch is Nietzsche's most misinterpreted concept. Individuals have made it into this evil, malicious thing, and some have even tried to use it to rationalize atrocities throughout history. But that was never Nietzsche's intention whatsoever. Actually, the very opposite. You see, the German term Übermensch translates to overman or superman, but not a superhero in the contemporary sense. Rather, it is about transcending and becoming something greater, stronger, and more evolved than mankind. In the most basic sense, the Übermensch embodies the process of transcending boundaries, breaking the norms of society and becoming something greater. Nietzsche presumed that most individuals fall prey to the herd mentality, following rules, seeking approval, and fearing judgment. The Übermensch, however, is not like this. He doesn't follow, he creates. Now this is the part that people don't get. We're all conditioned to think that selflessness is a virtue, that good means putting others before oneself, even at one's own expense. But Nietzsche saw this attitude for what it was, a kind of weakness, or even deception and manipulation. Consider the following. If one sacrifices their health, desires, and aspirations for the good of others, what tangible benefits does it actually yield? It just generates resentment, weakness, and dependency. Most people who make such sacrifices do not do so out of pure goodness, but because society has guilt-tripped them into feeling bad about prioritizing themselves. Or worse, they merely act good with the expectation of getting something in return. Nietzsche claimed that greatness is not won by self-denial. It is won by appropriating one's authentic self and living in uncompromising integrity. The Übermensch doesn't compromise his values to fit in, and he doesn't play small to make others feel secure. Rather, he creates his own hierarchy of values and his own moral code, and he adheres to them no matter what is happening outside. Herein lies the revolutionary change. Weak people give up their power since they're always seeking approval. Strong people, however, don't ask for approval since they don't require it. They possess their very own unshakable faith in themselves. And that's the very same reason why the majority of individuals fear the Übermensch. The moment one stops sacrificing oneself for the sake of others' expectations, they become unstoppable. Nietzsche famously declared, "God is dead." But what does that really mean? And why would he utter this much misunderstood statement? He didn't mean it in a simplistic religious sense. In fact, he meant that people don't believe in the moral frameworks that used to bind society together anymore. Science, rationality, and modernity have killed the idea that there's something greater than us giving our lives meaning. Consequently, without this belief, most individuals succumb to despair, nihilism, and weakness. But Nietzsche did not preach passive resignation. That is not the solution. Rather, he felt that this crisis had to change us. And that is where the Übermensch enters the picture. Because they are precisely that individual, the one who does not need anything outside of themselves to tell them what is right and wrong. In effect, they create their own meaning to life. In fact, when faced with uncertainty, most individuals look for external sources of meaning, belief systems, leaders, or rule books. Yet Nietzsche's challenge posed a deep question. What if you had to make the decision for yourself? What if no one was coming to save you? No one was issuing you orders, and no divine power was shaping your fate? Could you bear this burden of responsibility? The Übermensch can, for they are capable of coping with this responsibility and with anything the world may bring their way. Unlike most, they do not fall prey to life circumstances, but instead, they create their own life. This notion frightens the majority of people, as it calls for extreme self-sufficiency. Society resists the arrival of the Übermensch, because the moment people no longer adhere to rules, no longer seek approval, and no longer obey, they become strong. Remember this, they don't want you to be powerful, because powerful individuals pose a threat. The truth is, we're trained to be compliant from childhood. Schools don't teach critical thinking. They teach conformity. Religions don't liberate. They make people flawed and in need of salvation. Workplaces don't encourage individuality. They enforce compliance. The reason being that a free thinker, a true Übermensch, is unpredictable. The powerful fear what they cannot dominate. And nothing frightens people more than a person who cannot be controlled. Others will even accuse you of being selfish since you won't give in to their ultimatums. Is it selfish to be acting according to your own code? Is it not, in truth, the ultimate in integrity? Most people say they need honesty, but what they actually need is obedience. They need you to conform, blend in, and make them comfortable. But the Übermensch never compromises his values or morals merely to please others. This is the reason why people will try to stop you from progressing once you start on this journey. When you are aware of your truth, you can no longer be manipulated by them. This isn't some abstract idea. It's a mindset change that can change everything. And this is where you can start to become your own version of the Übermensch. Here are 4 key ways that you can change your thinking and begin using the concept of the Übermensch to transform your life. First challenge, everything you have learned. Do not unquestioningly accept what society has taught you regarding success, morality, and happiness. Ask yourself, do these principles work for me, or do they dictate to me? 2. Create your own values. The Übermensch does not just destroy all meaning, he creates his own. What do you stand for? What do you desire? 3. Accept suffering. Nietzsche was aware that adversity was not something to be evaded. It was a challenge to be overcome. The Übermensch flourishes in adverse circumstances. When you encounter adversity next, don't say, "Why me?" Say instead, "How can I become stronger because of this?" 4. Quit waiting for permission. The world won't grant you freedom. The world won't grant you success. If you want to rise above the herd, you must claim your life today. So will you stay in the world of the conformists, living their rules and playing safe? Or will you take that first scary step towards becoming something incredible? Once this door is opened, there is no turning back. But the individuals who walk this way never turn back as well. Now you know why accepting the idea of the Übermensch will transform your life. In the next video, you'll learn why the modern world is actually designed to stop you from doing this, and how you can break free